Welcome to Recovery Radio. Our show brings you real talk on addiction and recovery, featuring special guests, including actors, musicians, activists, writers, and doctors. We're live from beautiful Bolivar, West Virginia, breaking the stigma surrounding addiction. From 10 a.m. to 11 on Fridays, we're always raw, always real. We deliver unfiltered talk on all things recovery, with special guests from the recovery community. Recovery Radio is a place where you can share your thoughts or just listen and be enlightened. We here on Recovery Radio endeavor to brighten your day and inform you of the many conversations as well as solutions to combat the destruction associated with substance use disorder. Join us here, and you can call at 304-885-0708 or reach me by email, boydbw@msn.com, or you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. You, the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Wow. Gotta let that marinate just for a minute. Good morning, everybody. You're tuned in to Recovery Radio, Enlighten Radio. And my name is James Boyd. I will be your host for the next hour down at on the Zoom room. We got a Zoom room working for Recovery Radio. And so our topic this morning, by the way, that song, Andre Day, Rise Up, is a powerful song. Andre was motivated to write and sing the song to spread the message of perseverance during difficult times. She believed that the song would encourage them to rise again. How utterly profound, John. Rise up at a time like this. Good morning, John Case. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay, pal. Good to see you.
Good.
You're looking good.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to 6 times.
That's 2 times, John. That's two times. I'm counting, man. I'm going to try looking good as well.
I'm not going to try to make it too obvious, but.
Well, I'm a scout today and make sure I get the other 3 that I'm hoping for.
Right.
Hey, you're looking good, man. So Andre Day, man, that was powerful. I mean, so I wrote down some of the words out of the song, some of the lyrics, and here on Recovery Radio, as it pertains to us today and how we're rising up and rising above the coronavirus pandemic that has swept the country, the world, actually. So we've gotten broadband in the suffering band, and so we're gonna have to suffer together and rise up.
I like that.
Yeah, man, the broadband and stuff. So listen, let's open the song up. But first, just a few words from my producer to see what he has to share with us this morning. What's your perspective, John?
My perspective is that when people run out of cash, they're going to leave the house.
And then after that, after they leave the house,
it's going to some chaos is going to ensue because the pandemic will probably increase.
The pandemic will increase, the chaos.
Well, or it won't go down, or it'll sometimes I think what Trump wants is to reach a plateau of death, where it stays.
Plateau of death. So, what kind of thinking would you attribute to him?
Hitler type, I mean, a guy who thinks that some little the world's up for grabs, and whoever gets it gets to keep it. And everybody else can, we're lemmings to the sea, purge the races, all these weird theories, that the white supremacists and all those guys. And, it's and these guys said, well, it's going to be them or us. And, you get this suicidal. Thing going.
Homicidal.
Well, you consider the weapons that nations and countries have these days. If everybody starts to get suicidal, or military, it's hard not to see a Holocaust, coming. But I just figure that Trump wants to keep chaos at a level where he can keep his emergency powers, and if he needs to, cancel the election.
Well, when did this nation, I believe in my years, right, and being in the streets and out of the streets and being unemployed and employed and all of the things that goes with being born and bred here in the United States, it's not confusing, or does it come as a surprise to me that these types of things are happening? However, when did it shift our thinking, when we became kind of sort of like uncontrollable? To speak out, people are speaking out in great numbers and depth.
Well, everybody.
So I think that's.
Yeah. I think everybody has to use their own experience.
Conversation. Amen. Let me ask you a question before we
go ahead. Yeah, in my experience,
now I wanted to ask you how we're doing with our exchange here on the. But this is just radio. You and I having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. So I want to practice these moments, being able to do the Zoom room in a way that's impactful.
Yeah.
Without cross talking and all of that. But that's good. Now you were saying, I think I probably made you forget your
Oh
thought.
no, you were talking about when did it become? What was your question? Like when did it become
Oh yeah,
apparent
when did
to
we
everybody
become
but you? You
apparent?
already
Yeah, we're out of control. Like there's no more control in terms of what people are willing to do because it's becoming really desperate. So we're talking like tombstone territory, the wild, wild west kind of thinking, right?
I mean,
But on a larger scale, on a much more horrific.
Well, potentially, for sure.
Potentially. So,
I mean, I saw these gun nuts in Michigan that decided to go out and with weapons to protest being told to stay in, you know, in Michigan, you know. But I mean, my question was, well, who you planning on shooting?
Yeah.
No, with all these
Who you gonna
AR-15.
shoot?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the plan here?
That's what I was. I said, you know, are we being invaded by another country, or are we gonna be shooting our own countrymen?
But
you know,
well, I mean,
people are hungry. You're saying that's what you're saying. People been
well, I don't.
Hungry
these guys didn't look hungry. They looked like somebody, you know, set them up to. It's like there's a bunch of people who know that when the cash runs out, people are going to start screaming. Even, I mean, no matter whether it's safe or unsafe, they're not going to sit there in their house and quietly starve to death. Okay, that's
right. Exactly.
They're going to go out and raise some hell first. At least the young guys are. We know that, right?
Yeah, they're gonna do that first, like in some of the African countries that was happening years and years ago, but on a much larger and a much more sophisticated, different kind of scale. But because of, by the, you know, we are the United States. I mean, I guess I really don't know. What we got to brag about.
United are we now? Right now,
you're right. I don't know what we got to brag about all the time with that, you know, and so. And then you'll be deemed unpatriotic or I mean, they have all kinds of things that they'll attach to your movement, so that they can, you know, when I say they, I don't even know who the hell I'm talking about.
You know,
who am I talking about, John?
Well, I mean, we have a certain class of billionaires, okay, not all of them, but certainly some of them that, you know, they don't believe in democracy. They want, you know, this authoritarian dictatorship, this whole thing. I mean, they don't care. I mean, I how they got that way, I don't know. But because even 20 years ago, the stuff that Trump's doing would have been unacceptable. But they don't mind it now. And of course, I mean, then you got, you know, 40 years of basically no raises in the working class. I'm just talking about on average, you know, that kind of 40 years is certainly 2 going on 3 generations. And that creates a bad attitude in all kinds of areas. Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think these billionaires, the Koch brothers, the people that are sort of bringing all this independent money, even independent of the Republican Party, now they own it, but, you know, they got their agenda, and they know how to divide, you know, get half the working class to shoot the other half, so they can parade through the streets of Rome.
Well, I don't know what to do, man, because I feel kind of I feel very vulnerable, you know, in this country, and I can trace it back to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because I cannot possess a gun. I can't have a gun.
Yeah.
And if I'm found anywhere near a gun, because it has happened to me before. Sure. I pawned a gun, and the next thing I know, the FBI called my house. So I do know that they track
weapons,
you know, people, weapons and things, which is fine with me, because I've had my fill of guns and violence. So the next thing is, I have to rise up. You know, I'm fighting with smart fists now. So.
Well, you used to have a gun. Now you got a voice. So
now I have a voice and a platform, and I want to spread that around to, you know, as much as it can do. I was listening to a lot of Martin Luther King yesterday while I was folding laundry and packing up, because I'm transitioning, moving to a new home.
Well, that'll lift you
and
up.
Lift me up, man, and made me, you know, be able to come on Recovery Radio and have conversations that might be able to help somebody. So Rise Up with Andrea Day, you know, and she spoke about being on the merry-go-round. And so in addiction, that's kind of what you're on. That's the thing that possesses you. And I think it's been weaponized in this country from years ago. You know, you become marketable. You're able to be put on the chopping block, and they divide you up in little pieces, and, you know, and so you end up being divided up in 10, 20, 30-year pieces. 2 to 8. We will cut it up in 2 to 8, 3 to 10. And
In
so
a
you get
way,
on
you
this
know,
merry-go-round.
the addiction pandemic, which
Yeah.
preceded this pandemic,
Mhm.
in a way, is like a little bit like John the Baptist.
Yeah.
You know,
So how so?
well, I mean, you know, John the Baptist came before Jesus, right?
Right.
And he warned that there was going to be a big change
Mhm.
coming, and
Mhm.
you know, they cut off his head for it. But a bit, but it was like, I feel like the addiction pandemic, which became big news once it hit you know, Martinsburg, Huntington, and
Mhm.
a few other
Mhm. Mhm.
places, right?
Yeah.
Was a warning to us, right? In a way,
Yeah.
you know, you think you're vulnerable to this. Guess what else is
Right.
coming?
Guess what else is coming? That's
Uh,
right.
and it's really like you've had. It's like you've had an emerging pandemic storm of some sort, you know, that we have a little hurricane. Oh, wait a minute, here comes class 5.
Yeah, they send it up a notch. Hey, but check it out, John. I agree with that analogy 100%. I was thinking when you were talking about John the Baptist, but this is a galvanizing time. You know, if you're going to talk about it on a spiritual level, we're being galvanized by pandemics, or we are being galvanized by, you know, there's been a paradigm shift in the thinking across the world,
Yeah.
I believe. And so with addiction, you know, it started to shift some years ago, as I can recall. You know, it started to shift people's thinking. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that for me, when when the cover was pulled off, the idea that, you know, you were a piece of trash if you were a junkie. That's what we were called at one time.
Absolutely.
But now it's on some people's mouths, but not everybody. Okay, so now here we come and so that kind of galvanized this community a lot with the addiction piece. Now, now here comes the coronavirus, and so, you know, he's putting this glue. I mean, he's putting this stick to itness so that we can get back together and become as one people. And it starts in the home, you know, because my wife is dealing with me like a champ. I think she's going to win a gold medal
It really, after
in
that, you
this
know,
game.
she was used
Yeah,
to you
yeah,
for, you know, for 8 or
yeah.
9 hours a day, but she wasn't
But
ready for 24.
if she stopped cooking, man, I'm in trouble. Look, if she stopped cooking, I would be eating cereal and Pop-Tarts and all that stuff, man,
Oh
for
my
a long
God,
time.
yeah, right. I know. Is there any way you could get McDonald's to deliver? You know.
Yeah, but anyway, and all the food workers and everybody, John. So
Unbelievable.
yeah, the merry-go-round. And so
You
we're
know,
gonna
I
move
had
mountains.
another thought about back in the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
At least well, it happened in a number of places, and you know, I was
Mm-hmm.
a leader. I was a member and leader of a radical outfit called SDS at
Mm-hmm.
the time at the University
Mm-hmm.
of Buffalo, SUNY at Buffalo, and we had. I guess the high point was there had been 2 incidents. You know, one was the
Mm-hmm.
rising opposition to the Vietnam War,
Mm-hmm.
but the other was right after Dr. King got killed, or no, it was right before he got killed, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the African American community in Buffalo
Mm-hmm.
bunch of shit burned down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the cops, of course, reacted with their attack squads and everything like that. You know, shot a few people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know we had this huge protest on the campus that sort of was, you know, a bunch of these basketball players who had gotten scholarships to play. Did the, you know, like the Olympic guys, remember
Mm-hmm.
that raised
Mm-hmm.
the fist in Mexico or something like that? Well,
Mm-hmm.
they did
Mm-hmm.
this in the middle of the basketball game at I think quarter or halftime. I was at the game, okay, and when they did
Uh-huh.
this, like it's like the cops had planned the whole thing. You know, all of a sudden the side doors open and in comes the tax squad, just you know beating the crap out of everybody, right? And then
What?
a riot, and you know
Yeah.
follows, and
Mm-hmm.
we shut down the whole university um, over it, and the cops were out there shooting tear gas canisters through the windows of the
Wow.
building. Yeah. I mean, it was really
Man, I can imagine.
anyway. And right the next day, we
Mm-hmm.
you know we had a big mobilization. We put
Mm-hmm.
5,000 people. No, excuse me, 15,000 people in
Mm-hmm.
the streets of Buffalo, which they say had never happened since the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened the day after?
What's that?
Free drugs everywhere.
What?
Yeah, remember I think it was called MDA, mothers and, but I think it's
Ma, yeah, yeah,
an
yeah.
ecstasy type of amphetamine or
Ecstasy,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, and free
Yeah.
drugs everywhere,
Free drugs everywhere.
all over the
How
campus
did
was
that
just
work out?
flooded with free drugs.
Mm.
And you know, so all of our active people, guess who showed?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who showed up at the meetings the
Who?
next day? Nobody. You know, I mean, well,
Nobody.
we had a lot of defectors. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
want, you know, that incident made me very suspicious of because you know I started to join some conspiratorial thinking there. You know, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and I'm not entirely sure that the opioid pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
sponsored by some pharmaceutical corporations whose owners are extreme right-wing weirdo racist,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
garbage, frankly, you know. So you know, I'm not 100% sure that we're not talking about an intent to kill and demobilize, you know, as this inequality thing has been building the past years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. You know, I sometimes wonder whether some, you know, creep up there is, well, see, how can we, how can we,
How can we, right?
well, if they're all on heroin, you know, they ain't going to be getting up and running down the street.
Yeah. They could be more wrong though, John.
I don't
And
know.
so,
What do you think about that's I'm sure there's more to it
no,
than conspiracy.
yeah. But I see the country, man. I mean, it's almost like the conspiracy theories are becoming more of a reality here. You know, back years ago when they was talking about "Beam Me Up, Scotty," and then they had "Lost in Space" that came on.
Yeah.
So all of those kinds of things, man. And now we're here in 2020 with something totally different that we're faced with. And then a lot of things are becoming okay to do in public. And I mean, I'm gonna tell you a story, man, because I do a lot of reflecting. When I went to prison, and when I came home after probably 7 years, so when I went in, everybody looked one way. I'm talking about in the Black community. But when I came home, all the girls had long hair, long, pretty hair, straight hair hanging down. So, so I was thinking that, damn, what was they? Everybody's growing really nice looking hair. What's going on here? So I had no clue about the weave when the weave took over.
Oh, you missed that.
In my, yeah. And so I met this young lady who is my wife today, and her hair was fixed so nicely, and one part of it was down over her eye. And I was like, wow, who is that? Huh? And I saw her the next day. and the hair was gone. So I was kind of in a fog until I got up in because I kept seeing everybody with nice hair. And I'm saying, why is these people got this nice hair? Somebody came up with the weave. And so I realized that it was, the Japanese came here and got that market going. So that was one thing that kind of rocked my world when I got out of prison. And I thought it was kind of, because I work in addiction now, and the guys that are coming out of prison, what they're going to be faced with, and the way that they're being handled by the system is cause for recidivism. If you just look deep into it, like you were saying, that people are going to start to come outside. Well, so are the prisoners who are already outside. They're outside of society, but they're being let loose. And, so all of those are like, I don't know, assumptions or conjectures or whatever you want to call it from me. But I found that once you locked behind those bars, there's not a whole lot that everybody is going to do. There's going to be more sad stories than success stories, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, how do we deal with that? Well, the way they've always dealt with addiction, those who are suffering the most continue to suffer the most, unless we do a big turnaround. And someone was telling me that I'm not the rule because of my recovery status and all of that. I'm the exception to the rule. And I had to take heart. I had to look at that.
Is that your real experience, though? I mean, of all the people that you've known, in the addiction community, I mean, is it true that that you are really the exception? Or, I mean, because people, I mean, I've heard different theories about this, but one of them is that if people, for example, almost everybody was addicted when they were in the military in Vietnam. I mean, they were talking about 80% rates of people who used drugs when they were there, but 80% did not stay addicted when they came home. If they had family connections, if they had support, if they got jobs, right? If they were able to connect, back to their family in some way, then, they didn't, okay? But if all the other social factors are working against you and beating the crap out of you too, then, it doesn't, I mean, that there was a divide there. And I just wonder, I don't know whether anyone ever counted, the different things, right? I mean, but you probably knew a lot of people from the service, or maybe you didn't, maybe you don't remember, maybe.
Oh, I do remember. Yeah,
okay. And
I do, man. I remember.
So I just, this idea that the people that recover are the exception. I mean, in some way says, okay, so what? The rule is we should just terminate everybody who's not. I mean, different people.
So yeah. So that the person that said that to me, and I took a look at it, was a doctor, and we was having a conversation around medically assisted treatment, medical assisted treatment, the pills, the shots. And we were talking about how he said, well, how did you get in recovery and stay in recovery and everything? Did you do any medically assisted treatment? And I was telling him I did it a couple of times with methadone, but it was just adding something to my dilemma. But the medically assisted treatment that he's talking about, this new age for me, it seems to be working on some people. And he was saying that I couldn't make a comparison because I'm the exception to the rule. Like, I'm the guy you talking about that just quit, and I'm not. So the guys that came from Vietnam, really most of them, like you said, family people today, doing really well, been doing well for a long time. Since Vietnam, they tried drugs, they didn't like it, they stopped it and all of that. So I think he was referring to someone who was severely addicted, like like somebody that was willing to stay out in the street for 20 years. and they come on medically assisted treatment, and it's helping a lot of people. So that's why he was saying I'm the exception to the rule with that piece, I believe. But I think that you're right, that because of all the other things that were not in place.
Yeah.
Like when you know what I mean? Like all the economic piece is what I'm saying, the education, you know. And then the idea that they said, okay, so when you start using drugs, your progress to adulthood stops. Some kind of way they say, I forget how they word it in medical terms, like,
yeah,
like your maturity level.
You're devolving.
So that's
you're not evolving anymore. You're devolving.
Right.
You know, whatever.
So if that stands the reason, the way I look at it, I said, well, damn. Since it stopped, I guess some things kept growing, but my ability to make rational, lawful decisions stopped growing. You know, that just stopped, or it took a turn for the worse. So if that stands the reason, when I finally stopped at age 45, I had a lot of catching up to do, especially if I started at age 14. So where the hell? So I guess I'm trying to say you get this trajectory, and it has to be a great one in order to get you to be able to have a good conversation with people. It took me a while.
So you're still only 25, you know.
I'm still only 25. That's why I like hip hop music, I guess. Because I'm sailing now, you know. I bought some toilet paper at the Walmart store. I'm gonna wipe until I can't no more. I got some toilet paper from the Walmart store. I'm gonna. So that's where I'm at, man. And I can tell you, brother, when I first started using drugs and all of that, man, in my mind, especially in Vietnam, I was hooked on John Wayne. So I wanted to be either John Wayne, or it was a guy I had never seen him at that time, Artie Murphy.
Oh, that's right.
With a machine gun. Yeah, and I was hooked on people like Elliot Ness.
Sure, yeah, right, yeah. I remember.
And they gave me a gun. And
Robert Stack played him, right?
Man. So that's the kind of thing I was doing in my mind.
Yeah.
Until I saw somebody get killed. Yeah. I thought that it was supposed to go to commercial.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man.
You know, and I look at it now, like I said, so this coronavirus and the behavior and the suffering and addiction, homelessness. I've suffered many and most of those things on multiple occasions in my life. And so that's what I bring to recovery. I just got a letter from DHHR, and they was doing a background check on me so I can be employed. And I failed because I have felony arrest. And so it's a determination. And so you have to give a good explanation about, it's like an appeal. You have to tell us what you've done since your last felony arrest. Are you still actively using drugs? Things of that nature. What have you done? Can you get reference letters from people that would verify that you've done all the things that you say you've done?
Well, you probably can do that. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I think Senator Unger might weigh in for you, among others.
I know, yeah.
And if you need a letter from me, I mean,
I knew you were going to say that. I talked you right into that.
Yeah,
I know, John.
I have to.
It was just funny to me that I said, well, damn, you know, I should have gathered all this information anyway in the first place. So people, so I am just so grateful to be in recovery at the time that I am in recovery, because experience is a very powerful tool if used appropriately.
Well, a social upheaval is certainly coming. We're in the middle of it. We're in the early stages of it, and I don't think anyone knows how it's going to end.
No, they don't.
I really don't. And anything's possible. You have a leader of the country for whom anything is on the table. Anything on the table.
Yeah.
And that's going to have to end up being true for the popular resistance as well, because you got a situation where collisions of different forces are happening, and you've been hit by this missile of this pandemic, okay? And so all the weaknesses in the social organization are just, exposed.
Yeah.
The private health,
that was a good one.
the
Yeah.
private healthcare system is not going to be equal to this. I mean, that is the problem, okay? And the federal government under this guy's leadership and is not going to mobilize, to do all the testing they need to do to actually do what Germany is doing right, and some South Korea, which probably will be able to open up to more degree because they know where they can. I mean, they've tested everybody and they know where there's infection and where there's not. Okay, and now that information, you can do things. Okay. That make that, and that would give the public the idea that you actually are making progress instead of just lowering bullshit on everybody.
Right.
But no, we're on our own here. We don't have that, and that's why
he talked junk to Governor Cuomo, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's not gonna get. The governor said, "Man, get out of my face." Basically, and then he attacked the governor in Maryland.
Oh yeah, Hogan, you're right. And one of his
Hogan.
Republicans, yeah.
Hogan said, "I don't know what he talking about. I don't even know what he trying to say." They won't say it like that, but that's what they saying. Man, what you talking about? Man, he don't even know what is he talking about. Who he talking about? He ain't talking about me. Yeah. I don't know what the president was talking about. I know. Now, how you gonna bring a message to the country, and your leaders don't know what you're talking about? How you expect everybody else to know?
Well, how does he have control of the Republican Party?
I don't know. He must be giving them money every week. That's how
he
could
control he has
me.
done that. I mean, the tax cuts and
listen, I need me some cash. I need change.
$2.2 trillion.
I met a guy yesterday, and he said, "Man, that stimulus check," and then he rubbed his hands together like this and licked his chops. He said that stimulus check came right on time. So most people are saying, man, that this is a good thing in terms of the money, but it ain't enough money. It don't last but 5 minutes. How quick can you spend $1,200?
I know. This week will be good. Next week's not going to be so good.
Only thing you're going to be able to buy pretty soon is some damn sea rations.
You see the lines in some of these states to the
Oh, wow. I went to the trash dump yesterday. Hour and a half.
Oh my God.
Yes. Jefferson County trash dump.
And why? Just because people are not. Why?
They was practicing social distancing at the dump.
Right. Okay.
I'm
I know.
I got pictures. Right. I got photographs.
Right. What happens? They pass a rule. You can only take a dump once every 12 hours. Okay.
It was a line. It was a line, and they got a sign that lets you know, because once you get in line, you can't turn around.
No, you can't. Right. I know. I've been.
That's like getting stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel.
Oh God!
Think about that.
Don't talk about
Think
that.
About that.
They made movies about that. I mean, how many movies have been made about a gunfight in the middle?
You're getting stuck in the Lincoln Tunnel.
Or, a leak develops, or, a giant serpent, bumps up the tunnel.
Come out of the tunnel. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Godzilla. Hey, Godzilla's on top of the tunnel.
Yeah, they're going to make one for everybody. You watch. And so, like you said, people got to get out and vote, man. Get this crazy man out of the office.
Well, how do you? But then you got to think. Well, you can't go out or you'll get sick. But if you stay in, and use your mail ballot might not get there. Or you didn't identify yourself.
Yeah, because Jesse James going to intercept that stagecoach.
That's right. That's like
take all that mail.
That's like what's that? The thing in
the Great
Hamlet.
Train Robbery.
Oh no! Hamlet. Remember the Hamlet? Where the king wants to kill Hamlet. Because he's found about him sleeping with his mother and killing the old king. Whatever.
Okay.
And so the king sends two of his aides, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, because he knows that Hamlet's going to be traveling to another kingdom. And he sends ahead his Rosencrantz and Guildenstern with a message that when Hamlet gets there, the king should kill him, by being the other king. Well, Hamlet captures this message and rewrites it. He says, no, kill Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Sure.
So they get killed. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern get killed. And Hamlet now, has that. This is the power of hacking. You get control of the message and you rewrite it.
And you rewrite it, write your own narrative. That's right.
And
so you think,
and so a hacker comes in, right, and he grabs your packets that you just sent with your email through, and he rewrites them. So that a different message is received than was sent.
and you sitting back wondering why people didn't call you back.
What happened to Rosencrantz?
Why people are not responding? I've been hacked.
So Hamlet was one of the early hackers, but yeah, I don't know. Well, man,
John.
I think you have to get an upheaval.
We're gonna have to get an upheaval. I think
I don't think you have to worry about it. It's happening. It's all a question of where everyone's going to line up in it somehow, or if they can. And there's so many issues involved. I mean, there's the international situation, which is you can't separate from everything, right? And there's
Maestro, I have a request. Since it's 9:39 a.m. right now, and you're listening to Recovery Radio, where you can tune in to the Zoom room of John Case. I am your host, James Boyd. Hey, do you add the promotional at the beginning?
I do. Yeah. I've been adding.
Can we? I know it's kind of a stretch. It's 9:39. Can we play that song? A Change Is Gonna Come by your artist and put that in, or is it too much? You can't.
I mean, it's about from Ruthie Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Before we sign off.
Yeah. Why don't you keep talking a minute and I'll cue it up?
Okay. Let me see if we can find it. Yeah. So I just wanted to share a few notes with the recovery community, those who are really struggling to find their way. And the Andrea Day song that we were listening at in the beginning, Rise Up, in spite of the age. Now, if you can imagine that, you're rising up, you're doing things, you're taking chances, you're moving ahead in spite of, and because all we have is each other, we have to understand that the things that we do to affect change also affects everyone around us in our communities, our neighborhoods. I find a lot of joy in the fellowships and the relationships that have been forged between myself and other people in the community in Berkeley and Jefferson County, all my neighbors and everybody out there who is paying attention to the advice that is being given about how to behave during this coronavirus pandemic that we're suffering at this time. And, keep your mask on, wash your hands constantly, wash your hands, and make sure you keep your nose and mouth. And the mask is really not to protect you from the virus, it's to protect others from you. You could possibly be a carrier. I just thank God that I haven't had any symptoms thus far, because I've been not 100% following the rules, because I've had some people come to my house who are moving furniture and bringing things because I'm getting ready to move away, and this one couple of gentlemen. But my wife and I and my family, we have our facial gear, and we do a lot of washing of hands and sanitizing. So neither of us have had any symptoms, and neither have my grandchildren. And my son, who lives in North Dakota with my 3 grandchildren, his family, they're all safe. And so I'm grateful for all of that, especially Like Angela Day was saying in the song, in spite of the ages, in spite of the ages. What is the age? This is the age of the coronavirus. Okay, John, how we doing?
I found it. Yeah, sure. You want to play it up?
Will they? Yeah, I want to play it. Will they let you add it? Are we having any problems with the music and stuff like that? I know you got a good.
Not on YouTube, because this came from YouTube.
Oh, okay. So we can go for it, huh?
Well, on YouTube, yeah. I don't know whether I don't know whether these guys, they have a thing where they read the signatures in the front of the file of the audio thing.
Okay.
So if you're playing something that you downloaded from iTunes, for example, it will catch the digital. They call it DRM, digital rights coding it's just plain text. It's right at the beginning of the file. And if they see that, then they'll reject it automatically. Okay. But YouTube recordings don't have that. Okay. And so
digital rights management, DRM.
Yeah. So if you're and the publishers of the music, I mean, they insist that when iTunes sells it, or for that matter, Amazon or the other online sellers, right? They got to include that. Okay. And because that's how they capture in the end their royalty, the number of plays. And so in a way, it's the intellectual property, but once someone sends it to YouTube, frankly, it's not okay. I mean, and these are mostly live performances, okay, and live performances, the artist usually is actually gets paid when they do the performance, but after that, the copyrights belong to the venue. Most unless there's some special arrangement, okay, and they give them away after a certain number of time has gone by.
Okay.
I don't think they can hold on to them as long.
DRMs,
digital rights management. That's that's just the signature. It's at the beginning of all these audio files, except for the ones that are. But actually, if you use a ripper of some kind, like a software program. It will add its own.
A ripper.
It'll add its own little DRM at the beginning of it. So, okay, you ready to hear Ruthie doing "A Change Is Going to Come"?
Yes, we're going to sign off with that one. We hope that you enjoyed yourselves, and so we're at 9:45 a.m. on Tuesday, April 21st, here on Recovery Radio. And my name is James Boyd again. Catch us next week. At the same time, we go on air from 9
o'clock Wednesdays, 9 o'clock Tuesdays.
9 o'clock Tuesdays, yeah. So, I think that officially this Zoom has got my nose. I like it. I think it's got a lot of possibilities.
Online tutorials, you'll be zooming all over town,
Zoom. Yeah, like Lionel Richie. Okay, John, listen, man, you stay safe. I'm hoping that I can get down there with the wife and pick some flowers out of your yard.
Oh, I hope you come, man. Okay, come down anytime. Okay, we'll maintain social distancing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. And I'll cut some flowers, man, and bring them back to her. But we're in the meantime, man, we packing up. I got bubble wrap coming out of my ears, but we're getting it done.
Yeah. Can you hear the song?
All right, John. Yep.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, John.
Long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother,
couldn't last for long. But now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. Said I know that a change is gonna come one day. I know a change gonna come. Yes it is. I know. Said life can be hard. Oh yeah. And times can get rough. But still I know. Still I know a change gonna come. Oh, 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 oh. It will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. It will. It will.
You know, I don't get a chance to do as much, spur of the moment playing with anybody, but the Blues Travelers. Hey, yeah, I'm not going to miss up that opportunity. This is going to be it's a huge honor for me to even be on the stage with these guys. So we're definitely going to have a good time.
What did you think about
Awesome.
playing with Ruthie Foster?
She's awesome.